Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about willpower, but not as some kind of moral virtue you either have or you don't. No, we're going to treat it like a muscle. And together, we're going to build a science-backed workout plan to make it stronger. You know that feeling, right? You start the day off so strong, you resist the donut in the break room, you stay focused at work, but then the evening hits and suddenly you're ordering takeout you said you wouldn't and scrolling on your phone for hours. It's like a switch just flips and all your resolve is gone. Well, guess what? That feeling isn't some kind of personal failure. It is a completely normal, totally universal part of being human. And there's actually a pretty cool psychological theory that explains exactly why this happens to all of us. Okay, so here's the best way to think about it. Imagine your self-control is like a phone battery. Throughout the day, every little act of willpower, every decision you make, every temptation you resist, it just drains a little bit of that power. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it ego depletion. The whole idea is really simple, but also kind of mind-blowing. Just like lifting weights makes a muscle tired, using your self-control actually fatigues your brain. It's a limited resource, and once it's used up, it needs time to recharge. And you see ego depletion showing up everywhere. That late night snack you grab when you're trying to eat healthy, that's your willpower muscle being too tired to say no. That impulse buy you make after a really long day of making decisions, yep, same thing. It even affects an athlete's mental game and whether or not we feel guilty or do something nice for someone else. It's this powerful, invisible force that's shaping our choices all day long. So if our willpower is a mental muscle, then how in the world do we strengthen it? Now, you might think the answer is, more mental exercises like meditation or something, but the science actually points to a really powerful and honestly, a kind of surprising solution. That's right. It turns out the most effective way to build long-term mental resilience and recharge that willpower battery isn't just about thinking differently. It's about moving your body. Physical exercise is the key. Now, you'd probably think people who are already super fit would be immune to all this, right? But what's so fascinating is that research shows that even elite student athletes, we're talking people at their peak physical fitness, they face incredible mental pressures like performance anxiety and burnout. So just being active isn't quite enough. And this is the crucial part. It's not just any old activity, but structured exercise that really builds that lasting mental armor. And by studying what works for this high-pressure group, we basically get a blueprint for how anyone, you, me, all of us, can use exercise to build a much more resilient mind. So let's dive into the actual science of self-control, because this isn't just a feeling, it's straight-up physiology. When you exercise, you are literally, physically rewiring your brain for better focus, a better mood, and way better impulse control. So here's how it works. First, exercise gets more blood, oxygen, and nutrients pumping to your brain. This kicks off the release of two super important chemicals, serotonin, which helps stabilize your mood, and a protein called BDNF. Now, you can think of BDNF as like miracle grow for your brain cells. It literally helps them grow and make new connections. And the end result of all this, a brain that's structurally better at managing stress, staying focused, and resisting those impulses. And what's cool is that different types of exercise have their own unique perks. Long-term studies show that aerobic exercise is an absolute powerhouse for reducing depression and anxiety. Resistance training, like lifting weights, builds what's called self-efficacy, which is really just that core belief in your own ability, and that's so crucial for self-control. And then things like yoga are just incredible for emotional regulation. Check out that stunning 35% reduction in anxiety symptoms. In fact, let's just pause on this number for a second. 32%. A 12-month study found that a consistent aerobic exercise program led to a 32% reduction in depressive symptoms. I mean, that is a massive, life-changing improvement, and it's achieved just by consistently moving your body. Okay, so the science is clearly compelling, but how do you actually make this a part of your life, especially when you feel too drained to even get started? Well, the answer isn't some huge, stressful life overhaul. It's about finding one small, really powerful habit. We're talking about a keystone habit. It's this fantastic concept from the book, The Power of Habit. And the idea is that some habits just naturally create a positive chain reaction. So, for example, making your bed in the morning often leads to a tidier room. And a simple workout, well, that's a keystone habit that can lead to better eating, better sleep, and more productivity, all without you having to use a ton of willpower on each individual thing. It just happens. So, how do you pick your keystone habit? I think this quote just says it all. The best workout on the planet is the one you'll actually do. If you absolutely hate running, please don't force yourself to run. The goal here is not to punish yourself. It's to find an activity that brings you some genuine joy and makes you want to do it again. So, I gotta ask, what's your version of chasing a ball? Is it dancing, hiking, a team sport? Maybe it's pickleball. Find that one thing that gets you moving and doesn't feel like a total chore. That right there is the secret to consistency. All right, you ready for a concrete plan? The research actually gives us a really clear, simple, and effective protocol that was proven to improve what's called inhibitory control, which is just a fancy way of saying your brain's ability to hit the brakes on impulses. Here it is. For the first 6 weeks, just aim for 3 sessions a week of moderate cardio. Think a brisk walk or a bike ride for about 30 to 60 minutes. Then, for the next 6 weeks, you stick to those 3 60-minute sessions, but you start adding in little short bursts of higher intensity. It's a really simple, gradual progression that builds both your physical fitness and your mental focus. And look, remember, the real goal here is just consistency. It's not about being perfect. Don't worry if you don't have the world's greatest workout every single time. Just show up, find what you enjoy, find what actually fits into your life, and then just try to stick with it. That's how you build the habit and how you rewire your brain for the long haul. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Your willpower is not some fixed trait that you were born with. It's a skill. It's a muscle. It can be trained, it can be strengthened, and it can be upgraded. So the only question left is, what are you going to achieve when you make it stronger?